I just want to make a sort of a, this is going to sound like a sales pitch, but it's not. But I mean, after becoming familiar with Buzzboard and Vendasta's sales data, big data sort of selling, I think this is going to be mandatory in a few years for everybody. There are a couple other companies that are doing versions of this, and if you're not prepared to do some version of this on your own or work with a partner who can do it, you're going to be beaten by the competition just on the basis of efficiency. And so again, I'm not making a sales pitch. I just think this is the reality of the near-term future for selling to local businesses. So questions for either of these gentlemen? I think you should be sitting much closer to the front.
Hi. So basically looking at the report, you know, that either Vendasta or Buzzboard or Haystack are providing, you know, you look at those reports and you understand how much needs to be done. And then you look at this and you say, well, but how many tools do I need to use in order to do this for the SMB? So how do you handle this?
Well, for what we tried was, you can, judging based on the type of customer, their experience, their appetite, because there was a lot of people who, I think the most common response we got was, we don't need any of this. I've got a 15-year-old son, he'll do it for me. What we can do is use the snapshot of where they are now, and if the 15-year-old son wants to do 6 months by himself, we can show them data-driven, exactly how the platforms see the kind of output of what he's invested, and show that you need to get an expert to help you. Similar to the comment that the Latitude guy said, you know, it's dangerous in a way to leave them to do it for themselves. And in a way, you have to use this data to prove to them that you need an expert to help them with it. So whether it's one thing on the score or it's 50 things, you've got to take it based on how their perception is. We had customers who were like, I just spent a load of money on my website. I had no idea it was perceived so badly against search engines. So these guys have a comfort factor that they're investing money somewhere, thinking they're getting the solutions, and they're not.
So I think that adequately handled the consumer side. I understood your question a different way, actually. I understood it that as a provider, how the heck do you handle all the solutions? And so, you know that's what we're trying to do. We have this idea of a wholesale marketplace where an agency or a media company signs up and they choose the products. Then they're able to deliver those products in a consistent UI and you know, one login with all the sort of training and support materials, so they can easily provision and fulfill, which is a huge problem for media companies. After you sell it, now what, right? To be able to fulfill and take that on to, you know, vendor fragmentation is real tough. So that's what we try to do.
Another question? Hopefully from a very distant part of the room.
Just a question for Morgan on Buzzboard. I'm familiar with it from a past life. I'm just wondering if you've extended it to all of your sales reps and if you have a direct attribution to ROI.
No and no. We're looking to see what's the best way to give it to 1,000 salespeople in the most cost-effective way, and we haven't built it into a direct ROI model. One of the areas that we're working with, getting more information, is how we can bring more of our own existing products into that mix. They're much harder to measure the ROI specifically, being more engage-orientated, print ads, display ads. So we haven't quite found that sweet spot yet. I think it's an absolute need to do that because that closes the loop and it has a much easier conversation with the smaller business.
Okay, wrap up. Okay, so I'd like to thank you guys very much.